to redefine and reshape what the Republican Party looks like when its leadership and its membership are composed of a large percentage of liberty-minded activists. Our recent political victories are the results of years of hard work by people who stayed engaged in the political process. I want to tell you that we did not recognize a couple things that you can learn from. From the start, it always seemed like we had some dragon for us to fight or some cause to take up in liberty. Needless to say, we were exhausted from fighting so many battles and even lost some of our activists early on. Once we realized that these were only distractions, we began to choose our battles more selectively. Our work within the party got much smoother and we made much more progress. We were also very aggressive with our actions. I have to tell you that was a huge mistake. Our initial efforts, we tried to influence people. If you want to influence people, you have to examine your communications. It is probably the most important thing you can do. Generally, people only react to communication with either respect, which is love, or fear. When people react with fear, they shut down, nothing gets in. When you approach communication with a mutual respect for others, the outcome is much different. Even if they don't like the words that you are saying, as Dr. Paul says, they can never unhear them. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. Find the common ground with others or they will never make it to where you want them to be. Listen closely. They basically tell you how to get them into the liberty movement. The most important work you can do is building relationships and affinities with people. Some of the relationships that you will make will be key to the success of our movement in the coming years. In 2010, we welcomed the influx of Tea Party Republicans who were really a shot in the arm of excitement and influence, trying to bring the party closer to where we wanted it to be. Some of these friendships were vital to the successes that we've experienced recently in Nevada. In 2012, after 4 years of hard knocks in the Nevada Republican Party, myself and others were in the belly of the machine. This was important because we were anxiously awaiting Congressman Ron Paul to announce his run for president. We were intent on making sure that the 2012 presidential cycle was open, fair, transparent, and completed properly. The liberty movement has become so dominant a force across this country because we have selected our battles wisely. We have treated the election process and the voters with respect in our messaging, and we have developed relationships with people in the political process. When the message of liberty wins anywhere, we all win because that knowledge and experience will be used in future races. The liberty movement has become so dominant in Nevada that the establishment has just rolled up their tents and started their own little status quo status clubs. We refuse to be distracted by their political drama. It is not our battle we choose to fight. Our battle in Nevada is working locally to promote liberty-minded candidates. And we are planning years ahead to achieve these victories. I am currently the vice chairman of the Clark County Republican Party. We have an outstanding team working to reshape the Republican Party from the ground up and support liberty-minded candidates. Please take the time to keep an eye on our efforts and even give us a hand at clarkgop.org. We are the proud parents in the rebirth of liberty. Like all good parents, we are cautious, protective, and even worried about our child's future. Just like parenthood, patience and planning are what we need most moving forward. As good parents, we depend on each other to make sure our movement grows strong and influences those individuals who are not with us yet. It is in our hearts and minds where the hope for a free and prosperous society exists. Our future still remains unwritten, and our words can never be stripped from history. Thank you.
You can't have any weed in here. You know better than that. We have a reputation to maintain. I'm going to introduce to you the Iowa State Chairman of the Republican Party, He is a Republican National Committeeman and one of the most famous sons of liberty. He was also the Ron Paul State Chairman from Iowa. How does that work? Please welcome A.J. Spiker.
Thank you, everyone. The people responsible for delivering delegates to Tampa for Ron Paul are David Fisher and Drew Ivers, and I want them to come up here. It's not me that was responsible for that, it was them. Drew and David, get up here. David and I were co-chairs of Ron's campaign in Iowa, and Drew was the state chairman of Ron's campaign. Drew led another revolution in 1988, the Pat Robertson Evangelical Revolution, and it changed the party, and I know you all are going to change the party too. But I'm very grateful to have gotten to know Dr. Paul as his campaign co-chair in the state of Iowa, and he truly is one of the most humble, decent, down-to-earth men I have ever known. The reason that I have so much respect for Ron Paul is that he doesn't want to run your lives. He doesn't want to tell you what you should eat, what you should drink, what you should put in your body, how you should educate your children. Dr. Paul trusts you, the individual. And he doesn't believe bureaucrats in Washington ought to be telling us how to live our lives. And Drew and David played a huge role in Iowa for what Congressman Paul accomplished, but it really couldn't have been done without the national campaign, including John Tate and Jesse Benton. They put their faith in us and allowed us to run the state of Iowa. They didn't run it from the national campaign, and I greatly appreciate that. We had overflow crowds throughout Iowa, consistently 3 times the size of other campaigns, and the support for Congressman Paul was unreal. I was amazed. Even my father, a 64-year-old disabled Vietnam veteran, caucused for the first time, and he caucused for Ron Paul. Because of the support of Republicans in Iowa, I was proud to be elected chairman of the Republican Party of Iowa in February, and my staff is mostly made up of small government Republicans like all of you. And they are focused on growing the party, and today, for the first time in 6 years, the Republican Party of Iowa has a voter registration advantage on Democrats. We want to be as big of a party as possible. And at the 2012 Iowa caucus, we saw a tremendous number of new voters join our party. And I'm encouraged by the dedication and motivation of these principled young people who over the past few years in Iowa have helped advance the principles of the Republican Party. And when the Romney campaign lobbied to unseat the delegates duly elected out of the state of Maine, as chairman of the Republican Party of Iowa, I offered to seat those individuals who were denied delegate badges as guests of the Republican Party of Iowa's delegation. And if the Republican Party stands a chance of defeating Democrats this year and in years to come, we must embrace